So we're recording. Okay, so we've loaded this still into the Animator Compositor workspace. And then we went ahead and created a second layer by just hitting the Create button. And then we selected this in our Pan Am sampler folder. We chose this spline tool, which looks like a little green golf course. That's right here. The next thing we're going to do here is we're just going to go through and create points. What we're going to end up doing is creating a mask, or putting another object on top of this, because this effect, when it was built, was not you can't take it apart. Unfortunately, the layers aren't there, so we have to sort of recreate it.
Layer over top.
Yep.
Okay.
So it's just kind of a quick and dirty kind of thing. So I'm just going to come through here, and as soon as I click, I'm going to see a little target there. The more I click, the more that are added. So I'm just going to kind of click in here and create a few. Now the shape is curved. I'm going to right click on all these lines here and just choose linear. By default, it's set for spline. So we're just going to set those for linear. Okay. Now that I've got a shape here, I'm going to fill the shape just by hitting the Enter key on the keyboard. Okay. Now I can replace this green color here by right-clicking on it and going to Properties. That brings up this Properties panel here. I'm going to go to where it says Stroke up top and choose Texture. And this box right here that says Graphics, that's my opportunity to put a still image or a little video clip or something. I'm just going to go.
Would you suggest editing an image in Photoshop to stretch it to that angle, or is that possible to do in this program?
It is possible to do in this program. We'll go through that here. Yeah, that's okay. Let's finish this. I'm just going to go into the stills directory, and then I'll go to sampler. Yeah, and just grab this. Yeah. So we'll grab this one here and just drag it in. Now, as you noted here, it's not curved to the shape of that. It's just kind of cutting it, or cropping it into that window. Just to, this is kind of a quick and dirty again, but what I would do next, I would go in. The next thing I would do actually is in texture here. I would take it a little bit out of focus.
Yep.
Yeah, and then I would also give it a little bit of a soft edge, and maybe maybe bring the alpha back a little bit on it, or darken it. Let's see here. How would I darken that? Texture. I guess I would have to create another mask. Now, once you've created a mask like this, what you can do is actually save it. I'm just going to put it in this folder number 1 here. Just by right-click and drag. Don't let go of the mouse. Just right-click and drag it out, and you can save it. And now it's its own tool. So if I double-click on it again, it actually puts it right over top of the existing one. And now this is an opportunity for me to come in, instead of making it a stretch effect, I'm going to make it a color. And then, or I could actually make it darken, a darken effect. You can see what's happening there.
Right.
It's getting darker.
No, it seems that it's the opacity. It's like I can see through it still.
Yeah.
To the original capital.
Right. So I did set the opacity a little bit on the original one. So if I come down here and bring the opacity back on this guy.
Understood.
Yeah.
Understood.
What I'm looking for is those monitors in the background there. I want to still kind of be able to see those or make those out a little bit. Without really seeing the capital very much. because it's baked into that effect, and it's kind of, it's funny because the capital, the left wall of that turret, is kind of in the same area where it lightens on the steps of the Aztec temple there. So it's kind of like, am I seeing the temple or am I seeing the thing? You know, maybe a little bit of both. All right, so here's, right, you know, and there was also like a darken up top there, like a, you know, a little bit of a shadow. You could come in and create that again with a spline tool. I don't know if you noticed that on the original one, but I'm just,
because of the overhang.
yeah. And fill the shape, hit enter, properties, and we'll call this color a black color. Give it a little bit of a soft edge, and then, you know, bring the alpha back, kind of thing like that. Now, let's talk about the way to actually map video in there so it'll be at the right angle and stuff. I'm actually going to go and I'm going to save just this layer out since I did all that work on that layer. Actually select the layer, and then right here where you see this little icon show up under layer, this thumbnail, you can drag and drop that out. Okay. And that'll save just the layer. Okay, so now I'm going to delete this layer. Okay, and I'm going to create a new layer again. And this layer, we're going to go into layer properties. And we're going to work with this. Now, before I do that, I'm going to actually put an image into this layer. And the way I'm going to do that is I'm going to go back to my stills directory. And I'm going to go into sampler again. And this time, I'm actually going to choose an image and then hold down on Shift with my keyboard and drag and drop the image into the workspace. That just frames the image up for me onto the layer. And now what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to do what we call map mode in this layer properties panel by selecting that, and then I'm going to choose drag edit. And now what happens is if I grab these corners, it corner pins the object into the space.
Understood.
So it's the whole, now it's the whole image rather than just a cropped version of the image. And again, I can go in now and on the,
so this is the second way of doing it.
Correct. I'm going to go in and give it a little bit of a soft edge again. And you know, that's just the other way of doing it.
Sure. I like that way.
Okay. So,
yep.
Assuming that we like that, then, you know, you can either
I'll do the shading and the feathering and the effects on that paste there to make it look like it's actually there, no problem.
Correct. And you can go in, and there's actually some tools up here too, like this brush here is a darken, I believe. If you highlight that and then come up here and just kind of do a little strip across the top there.
Right.
You know, of course, I'm not able to, it's not real straight for me. I'm not.
Right. Does that have a tool where I can do that point to point?
Yeah, you can, you mean edit this?
No,
Or
like clicking to the top left where you began, and then clicking to the top right.
Oh, yeah.
Balloon image,
And
then it would be pick linear, and then would it do the painted image? Would it paint on it in that linear form?
yes. The way to do that is you would choose this, like this stroke here, this paint stroke, and then go to the stroke properties and change it from a spray to a drag line. And then what happens is you click your first point, and then you, you just kind of click and drag your line out. Is that what you're talking about?
Yes, and then, so that way it's linear, so it's kind of going along the shape above.
Correct.
wanted to reposition that? What were you doing there? What was your keystroke there?
So what I did first was I went to the select menu over here, the stroke select menu. I chose select, and then I clicked on the object that I wanted to modify or change. And then once it's highlighted, you can right click and drag around.
Excellent.
I actually don't need this one, I don't think.
Nah, it's okay, I understand.
Delete. Okay.
Yep.
Okay, so and then again, what I should have done here is gone into the properties, gone into the texture, and just taken this out of focus just a little bit.
Yes.
And so that's how that works. And so you would save it out now.
Go ahead, continue.
Okay, so if this is going to be the background, so I would save this out now. So I would just go into my #1 folder here and drag and drop this as a still. And then now, remember how we saved the layer earlier? We highlight the layer, we choose this, and we drag and drop it out. And the reason I want to do that is because remember there was 3 effects. There was the background, there was this piece that was by itself, and then there was this piece over here that was by itself.
Yes.
Okay, so now what we can do is go into our effects sets folder and just load up that piece that I want to change again, and I can go to my layer that I created here and just double click on this layer, and it says layer has different length in the current timeline. Do you want to scale the layer's data? Sure, why not? Okay, so but all that work that I did in that other effect is now applied here.
Yeah. So it gives you the building block and it gives you the final product.
Correct.
Save the whole set as completed as you edited.
Mm-hmm.
You also want to save the individual layers so that you can piece them together should you need to later on.
Yeah. Yeah, saving the layers. You can save layers, you can save objects. Saving layers is just select the layer and then drag and drop this guy out. Saving objects, like let's say this darken tool that I made. If I wanted to save that, I'm holding down my right mouse right now. If I drag and drop this into a bin,
Yep.
it gives me the opportunity to save it. So now that it's there, every time I double click on it, it creates another object in the workspace. You see how it's getting darker and darker?
Yes, I do. Layer upon layer.
Yep.
Still physically in this. Now, if you click the plus on layer, on that layer, could you do that for me? I just want to see what happens.
Do what now?
On the timeline.
Yeah.
The second layer.
Uh-huh.
The one below. Yeah. If you okay. So the pink and that's all exactly what I wanted to see. That's understand 100%, same as any other editing program. It's layer upon layer,
Mm-hmm.
and it's going to show you just the condensed or the stepped out view
Right.
of that layer until you step in and see each stroke that you've added.
Correct. And notice that when
Manipulate them there.
as I was adding those additional, darken things, I was at 2 frames in on the timeline when I did it, and you can see it created them all 2 frames in. So, in other words,
Okay.
if I go back a frame, they're gone, right? Because they
Good.
haven't happened yet. So,
So then I do need to make sure that what is the correction there? If I want to do the whole thing,
right. So,
select the whole layer first.
right. Well, what you would do is, obviously try to do it at the beginning of the timeline.
Most definitely.
If you forget, there's a couple things you can do. You can grab the handlebar of each object and drag it back like this.
Great.
Or if it's real small and you can't really get to the handlebar, like it's like that or something, you can right click on the object and choose trim to TL start.
Gotcha. And then in the future, I can manipulate each of those layers if I needed to make an adjustment.
Yeah, it's completely non-destructive paint, so you can go in and go back to the very beginning. Nothing ever gets compressed or anything like that. So
Sure.
All right.
Sure. And then the final product.
Yeah.
Saving the final product is as simple as just saving the workspace.
Yeah. So let's go ahead and open that again, and then I'll go ahead and open this layer again. Let's go back to the timeline and say yes. And then I'll go ahead and put this on there again. So yeah, as far as saving this out is concerned, this time instead of a still, it's going to be saved as an overlay. Okay. And
and just stipulate real quick the difference and the reason. So overlay would be for an object that you're putting on top.
yes.
The still would be anything that. So what I would save this entire project as when it's all built together with all three components, I'd save it as a workspace, correct?
Well, I mean, basically, you're going to be using this stuff in a live situation. So while you're chroma keying, you're going to have that still that we saved earlier as a background. And then this object is going to be a foreground layer. And the idea is that when the set starts, when your person, your talent is there, this is an opportunity for your talent to be framed up where they're, where they walk out from behind this. So,
It's creating the digital layers
right.
on the digital set.
So, you would be running this as a downstream. This would be loaded in a frame store. This would be loaded into a downstream keyer. And you would have that downstream key active, and then as soon as they walk out past the side of this thing, you'd turn the DSK off, and they could make the corner and stand in front of the object.
Gotcha.
Does that make sense?
Yes, it does.
It's a little bit of a song and dance, but
No. I mean, I know Final Cut and I know Avid and some other editing programs, Adobe and stuff. I mean, Premiere and all the effects and stuff. So it's very similar in that it's just the proprietary way of doing it that I'm learning.
correct. So that's pretty much it on that. We've got about 9 minutes left here, so I'm gonna go.
You have time, 9 minutes. Show me an import.
Yeah, I do this. I'm gonna have to do it theoretically though, because actually I don't have a time machine connected to this machine right now. But I can show you the steps. So let me go into the switcher application real quick, and then I'll go to editor actually. So in editor is where you're going to do any. Well, let me ask you this: are you going to want to do live import stuff, or are you going to be bringing files in?
I want to do this pre-shoot.
I understand.
So I'm going to bring in the credits from the Avid. I'm going to bring in the open from the Avid. And that way I can go from the open to live to the show, then after the show to live to the credits, and no editing in Avid.
Okay.
Because we're all doing it here.
Okay. So then there's when it comes to credits, I don't know if you want to be able to see what's happening live underneath the credits, or if that's going to be something that's like, its own graphic, full screen graphic.
It's usually a full screen graphic, but I did see that there was some sets or some effects in there that you had where you could do like a two screen, where credits on one side or credits were over the top, but like an overlay.
Right.
For this, we would just go with the mindset that I'm just going to do the credits over in Avid and then just bring them in as a full video file to save and to play live.
Okay. Okay. So you know what? Actually, we'll have to walk through this.
Say the open. Why don't we say the open? I've created the open in Avid, and I just want to be able to use the switch here to be able to go from the open to the live show.
Right. Okay. Let me.
I guess I could just go from one Avid to the program, and then jump it with the wires so that it would just be in say number 8. But I figured it would be easier just to have all the opens in the Glowcaster.
Right. So I'm actually going to run in emulation mode so I can show you what we're talking about here. Give me 1 second.
Thanks. Appreciate your time.
You can kind of skip ahead of me if you want while we wait for this thing to come up. It's in the editor application. You're going to see a button called Batch. It's in the green buttons. It's a batch digitize.
1 second, I'm just opening. I had closed it. And go into editor.
Yeah. Damn it. It's not going to let me show you
In
this.
the greens, it says batch.
Yeah.
Click batch.
Yep.
And I'm on the batch screen.
Okay. So this basically is where you're going to, I'm not going to be able to actually pull it up. There is a video I think I already made on this stuff on the Globecasting, so I'll just send it to you.